Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lightbringers podcast, where I'm going to do countdowns so people know that I'm starting. Like, it's a good idea. I think it's a smart idea. I hope you are well. It's 2024. Whether or not you've had a good start, not the best start, or you're only just getting up. It is the 12th day into the year. You might want to, stir a little bit. I hope you're well and good. There's the camera. It's over there. It's not over there. Most of the time it's over there. But we have the whole core team of the Bringers of Light here today. And it's our first show, 2024. We hope you're good. If you're here live, watching, or listening on Spotify or any of the audio places, I hope you're very good. If you're on Spotify and all the things, make sure you chuck a little review as well. That'd be massively appreciated. Also, if you're on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, tell us how you feel about 2024 and Guild Wars 2, because we're going to be talking about today our expectations, our hopes, our dreams, our fears, and also Bottlenecks' jacket, because Boots brought it up in our pre-show. And
Did I bring it? Yeah. Okay.
You did.
Yeah.
Sure
you own credit for that one.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
Copyright Boots.
Welcome to the bottom of the barrel, people. My jacket. Okay.
Oh wait, the bottom of the barrel is the most.
Did you crochet your jacket?
Don't give anyone any ideas, okay?
Please, I would love for you to crochet your own jacket. I would love if all of us could have original crochet jackets.
And I will pay for these.
Fornex.
God, yeah.
Fornex, you know who would really love some crochet?
Yeah.
The Lightbringer podcast.
You might need to add 4 more orders to your list of things to do.
I would love an old-timey Victorian blanket, please and thank you. I only have this lame modern one right now.
Modern blanket.
I want a real Fornex original.
That's terrible.
It's bad. It's garbage. What even is this?
I need to be able to poke my fingers through it, okay?
Yeah, I will add you all to the list. It's fine. The ever-growing list of my slave labor. It's fine.
Wow.
We'll pay you for this. We will give you money, at least for the shipping.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely always pay for
God.
shipping.
I'll pay for shipping.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. That sounds like a good deal,
Not
doesn't
for your
it?
time.
No, but you know the mailing
materials.
system. Yeah,
But like,
In fairness, my time isn't worth a lot, so don't worry about it. It's fine.
your time is worth everything.
If
I
it
would be
was,
so lucky to have a Fornex blanket.
we are on this podcast though, so how much could our time really be?
that's true.
Wow. Absolutely.
Fractions and fractions of pennies that we still have not
I'm just
seen.
gonna sit and sip my coffee. That's what I'm gonna do in minus 60
What type
degree
of coffee
weather.
is it, Jebro? Is it dark? Is there sugar? Is there cream in it?
It's black, but it's also a caramel flavor from Starbucks.
Ooh.
I like
yummy.
caramel coffees, and it's got 2 sugars in it because it's a big old mug.
Delicious.
Nice.
It will
that.
be when I don't burn my mouth on
I
it.
mean,
Put ice cubes in there. You do a little bit. You can put a little cold water on the top.
Cool,
I
wow,
did
wow.
Don't hurt
do
your
actually.
mouth.
That's actually a good idea. Shy, thank you
Ooh,
very
my
much.
mouth hurt. It burned.
My widow mouth. This is how Jebro sounds. My widow
That's
mouth.
exactly. The
That's
only
how I'm
time
like
that,
at the
The only
orthodontist.
time that voice comes out is when I call Boots my little sausage.
My whittle
Sausage.
I really like that you destroyed yourself trying to do uwu British speak. Really good. Good grief. Oh, I missed you all. Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year to everybody listening too.
Happy New Year, chat. And listeners at home, I hope you're doing wonderful.
Thank you, Shy, as well, for the gifted subs. I saw that. I know I don't normally say that. I'm probably going to do that more during the show. Thank you. Very kind.
oh my God.
Yes, we've all had a New Year's. We've all had a Christmas, maybe. Not everyone celebrates Christmas, but maybe you hopefully had a day off at the very bloody least. That would be nice. But we're in a state of Guild Wars 2. What's happening? What's going on? We've got some stuff happening this week. World v World restructuring beta is happening today and it's going on for a little bit. We also get a little bit of a preview of combat changes, balance changes. And we also got this interesting, I don't know, what was it? It was, oh, damn it. Captain...
Well, while you're looking for that.
Oh, okay, okay.
Did Rook, did you just eat a tail?
Wait, what?
I'm so happy that someone else saw that.
Oh,
Normally
your
I
cat.
keep Yes, I'm Rook. I keep a supply of tails at hand. I just eat them. I steal them from rats.
Oh my god.
We have a real problem here in Chicago. No, because my cat is.
What, you don't sell food? It's just rat
No,
tails?
only rat tails. It's gotten really dark here,
okay.
just like it got really dark when it was 40 whole degrees by Kroof.
Thank you for your thoughts and prayers. That's all I will say.
No, absolutely, anytime. I did allow my cat in the room today, so you might be seeing some cat interruptions.
There are 3 cats on this podcast right now.
Really?
There are.
Did you? I have some news.
Did you get
Oh my god, you're gonna do it
I have some
again.
news. I got a cat.
Oh, it's a stuffed animal. Okay, well, it's almost.
Excuse you. This is my son.
What's its name?
This is my
Does
son.
he even have a name? He's your son.
Jonathan.
I'm waiting for him to tell me his name. I'm really.
Oh,
You might have to
okay.
wait a little while.
That was
Okay,
good.
sure,
You know,
sure.
That
I'm
was
trying
very
this thing.
good.
It's called gentle parenting. I don't know if any of you have heard of that,
I
but I'm not
haven't.
trying to pressure my son at
You
the
know, I
moment.
didn't realize that gentle parenting included sitting on your son.
But you guys, it's 40 degrees here in California. It's just sharing body warmth.
That's true, actually. In the zombie apocalypse, that will be important to do.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, I'm just
Wow,
moving
great.
this
Well, Jebro, are we
Okay.
gonna do we get to do introductions today, or have you decided that we don't get to have those anymore because we can't have nice things?
Oh yeah, do introductions. Proof, tell us what you do, where you do it, because I'll see you next on my screen.
Hi everyone, I'm Kroof. I have recently been returning to the internet. I took a little bit of a hiatus just to kind of reconnect with nature and myself. And by nature, I mean the cityscape of, the concrete jungle that is not New York, but, LA. But I'm back. And, the same as ever. So I hope y'all are ready. So thank you for having
Reconnecting
me.
to the streets of LA. And I'm
Yeah.
back in the world of the internet. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm
if
just
you're not,
imagining.
just follow like Kroof on Instagram and you will understand their life quite well.
I'm just imagining you roaming the streets of LA like a feral creature.
Oh yeah, fully. I got immersed. I said, trash, give it. I staple it to my chest and I start shimmying.
Derelict.
Beautiful.
Good lord.
Yes, yes.
Rookery,
Hello.
also do that.
Oh, also go feral in the streets of Los Angeles? I
That's
might die. It's
unsafe.
40 whole degrees there right now, Jebro.
So cold.
I can't.
So cold. Bitter cold.
Hey everyone, I'm Rook or Rookery. I have not taken a hiatus. I mean, I took a brief holiday break. But like, who knows? Maybe this year I'll take a fun vacation. We'll see. But as it is, I'm still here. I am also still the same. Kroof, I'm so glad you haven't changed because I wouldn't change a thing about you because you're
Aw.
perfect.
Yeah, these clothes are getting a little dirty, so I should
No,
probably
keep the
change.
just like let that build up. Just
Okay.
your natural musk. But no, if I'm not cackling on this podcast and making Jebro sigh disappointedly while we're here, you can find me on my own channel, twitch.tv Rookery. That's Rookuri. You can also find me on YouTube at the same, and you can find me on Twitter at Rookery_. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I love MMOs. I love Guild Wars too.
Aw.
Boots!
Hey,
You
What's up?
are similar in
I
your
am also
creation
similar.
of
Yeah.
the things. There's no way you may do them. Are you still releasing adventure videos as well?
Yeah. I got. I think one went out like recently. Yesterday maybe. Yeah, yesterday. And tomorrow is my last one that was saved up from before I went on holiday break. Is coming out. So that means I have to start doing them again. And it will be probably slower than before. There's one coming out every 3 days, and now I think it's going to be a little bit slower. But that's okay. And yeah, I don't have that many left. I have I have
It's
all of the.
them, right? Is it all of them?
I'm almost. Yeah, I'm trying to do all of them. There's only one. There's only one from this seasonal stuff that's left to do, and that's the one from the upcoming Dragon Bash. No, Lunar Festival.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah,
So I
when
got
is
one
that?
in Lunar Festival to do, and then I got the Beetle races to do,
Ooh.
and then I have the End of Dragons ones to do,
You
and
still
I
got
think
quite a few
that's
to do.
it. I think that's all I have left.
Quite a lot.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess it's quite a lot. It's like down to 20 instead of 100. So
Excellent.
it's still, yeah.
Where
You
can
can see the
people go
end.
and watch this?
Oh yeah, World
Awesome
of Enders
videos.
on YouTube.
There you
Yeah.
go. Okay. Lovely, lovely. And last but certainly not least, the Quilt Creator, the Gnome Destroyer, the Fornax. That's what you do, and where
I mean,
you like to
I-
do it.
I thought I'd kept my gnome destruction on the down low, but thank you for letting the internet know all
I'm
about
not
it. I
sure
really appreciate
where
that.
they came from. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know. I just imagined
Oh.
your avatar destroying gnomes.
I
It's not
mean, I
dwarfs,
did
so.
like manhandle and choke out a rat in my D&D like on
Oh,
Thursdays. So I
D&D,
mean, it's
Jesus.
same vibe maybe.
My.
A lot of violence towards rats this episode.
All
I
of a
just want to
sudden, yeah,
apologize.
we're talking
It was
about
fine.
animal
It was
cruelty.
fine.
I
She
actually
did.
love rats. I
Dee
think
can
they're great.
testify. Yeah, Dee's in the chat. She witnessed the rat manhandling, but the rat
Oh, really?
survived, so it's fine.
Oh,
Yeah, and
okay.
crocheting Fornax. Yeah, that's my new channel. Look out for that as I document my slave labor for creating things for my family, including apparently these buckets as well. So yes, many to the list. but yeah.
Also, as a
Oh,
note,
oh.
as a note, swearing is going to be kept down to a very minimum, as I have been told off by the YouTube.
Really?
I mean,
have
I got you
indeed.
demonetized for last episode, did I?
That one and maybe some others. It may be
With
also
like
me
with two
as well.
swear words in a 2-hour-long thing. Really, that's crazy.
Yeah,
I never swear.
absolutely.
I don't
Well,
let
you
my
don't.
mouth
You
be
actually
tainted
don't.
by such words.
So
No, I
we're
won't say
gonna
any cuss
try.
words, but I will make it very graphic with all the other words.
I'm
Do
just,
you, when you put up your uploads, do you say this is made for kids?
so this is not. I don't
This is not
remember.
made for kids.
Not
Yeah.
made for kids.
No, not made for kids.
We can't get
know.
into the.
I
I'm not
do
gonna
not
get into it.
because I feel like if it's not made for kids, why does it matter if you swear?
I don't know. YouTube
advertisers,
doesn't like me. It's
advertisers.
advertisers.
On the advertiser stuff, I heard rumors that as long as you don't swear in the first 10 minutes, you're fine.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't know.
So yeah, we're
No?
screwed then.
Yeah, but probably.
Or you
I
can
don't know.
leave it.
We can try. We can try not to.
Maybe I just
will
do
say-
never. Me and Fornex would just never talk.
Yeah, I think most of you
Solid.
have to be completely silent, and the rest of us
You
will
hold up
handle
cue
it.
cards for
I'll
the
learn
next topic.
ASL. I'll learn
Oh,
ASL.
what
I know a few
about-
things.
Technical question. Do gonads count as swearing?
I don't know.
Well, we'll find
It
out.
could
We
have
will
been,
find
because
out.
it was the Gonad podcast, and it was.
I think it also
It was.
depends on how
Oh.
thick your British accent is. Because if you say
maybe.
gonads, I mean, it might not pick up. You know.
Might not.
Can I
We
say
had Rava
syphilis
on.
still?
Oh God.
I don't.
Am I allowed to
know.
still talk about syphilis?
Rava was.
Yeah, I
it
think we
was-
have to keep talking about syphilis for just awareness
If
purposes. you know?
syphilis did
Just
not
thank you,
mean what
but
it
that's the
meant,
purpose.
I think it'd be a beautiful name.
Yeah.
This is syphilis, my
hit my
daughter.
head against my microphone. I was convulsing with
There's
laughter.
a few words like that. People keep on saying that about like diarrhea.
Yeah, like there's some
If
words.
it didn't mean what it means.
Like yeah.
This is syphilis and chlamydia, my daughters. Hello,
And
darling.
also my
Yes.
stepson Moist.
I'm
Sorry.
rebranding to syphilis.
Or like syphilis.
Syphilis.
Oh,
That could be like a demon lord, like Mephistopheles.
Oh, that could be. I like that.
If you've
I wanted
never
to-
been here before, actually, everyone, welcome to the Lightbringers podcast. There isn't that much going on in Guild Wars 2 at the moment, and also this is just normal for us. So
It's the new year. We haven't seen each other in like
haven't.
weeks.
Well, me and Fornax actually had the show with Rava a couple of weeks ago, which was very good, very fun.
we did. It
We
was
were
great
just-
fun.
I'm not
yeah.
sure what we talked about.
Can
I
No,
don't
but
remember. Anyway, other
Apparently
than gonads.
gonads.
Yeah.
Apparently,
Yeah.
It was,
That's what we've
There
been
was a lot of
told.
mental health talk as well, actually, at times, which is
it
good.
was
Well,
very
you know.
nice. Also, I have to do my shout out to the people that I know in chat. Hey, Dee, and hey, husband. Hello. He's here tonight. So
Hello,
the
husband.
chat Garen is in the
Yes.
chat.
My husband.
Yes.
Hello, husband.
Yes.
Can I
Hello,
just say,
husband.
Fornax, Dee recently was telling us about how you've corrupted her innocence.
Mm. Yeah,
How-
Wait, Dee
probably
knows
accurate.
Fornax and is innocent?
Dee
was
knows
innocent
Fornax.
at some point
Dee
in
she
time?
was.
Yes, was formerly innocent, but the other
Really?
day I was hanging out with Dee, and Dee kept having to apologize, and she was like, "I'm so sorry, I'm being so lewd. I've been spending a lot of time with Fornax."
I have to
And,
admit,
like,
she was
can't
rather prim and proper until she ran into me, and I have corrupted the shirt balls out of her.
Good,
Yeah.
well done. I applaud you.
Fun.
Blimey, O'Reilly,
Thank you.
what's going on with these people?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad everyone's well. Rook, were you going to say something before I kind of spoke? You going to ask a question? Or maybe you weren't?
Yeah, I have a very pressing question for all of us.
Okay.
Absolutely. What do we think is coming up for Guild Wars 2 in 2024?
Oh my god, you're on topic?
Well, there we go. So
What?
then we're actually going to just go into
That is
the
a-
podcast.
Yeah,
Well,
look
I think
Bow, 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 bow.
that segue could not have been done any better than that. I think.
Other
I think
the cuts.
other than Rook doing it instead of Jebro.
We've got a screen coming up right now, which is a cheeky little tweet they sent out, and it was about an event happening from the 16th, which is what, in 4 days, to the 23rd, which is very interesting. To relive key encounters, and the Captain's Council will generously reward you from key encounters from Living Well Season 1. And I'm like, what are those?
Well, there's I guess there's the Attack on Lion's Arch.
Do you think
Yeah.
that
There's the picture behind
watch
makes
night.
me think that there's also the Queen's Gauntlet stuff.
Yeah.
Does that happen this time of year?
no?
No.
No,
What do you mean
this
this time
is
of year?
unique.
Do you think
No, not
that,
this time of year. It's like the actual thing that happened. Remember, like in season 1.
Yeah, but like, what would
Yeah.
you do an event round? Like, how would because that wasn't an event.
Well,
was just
it
a story.
sounds like they put a lot of work into bringing back season 1.
Do you think they're gonna
and
have
people
Scarlet
played it.
attacks everywhere?
People played it when it came out again, and people have stopped playing it that much, and they want to kind of like Dungeon Rush and kind of like Fractal Rush and World vs. World Rush. This is bringing back season 1 again for a week, and everybody should
What's
play
the
it.
title though? There it says calling all bounty hunters though.
That's
Is that the
actually a good
bounties?
point.
Jebro, for once, yeah, you made a really good point.
Yeah, that's really surprising, Mr. Jebro. Well done.
I'm being like genuinely that actually that
We
really,
love you.
that
Holy
really went
shit,
over my
man.
head.
Oh my
But
god damn it! I swore.
Like,
Wow.
that actually is really good to point out because it's like bounties were a
coming for
system
you,
that were
Wink.
introduced in Path of Fire and have kind of been introduced via the Rift system. So it's very weird that they say bounty hunters. Are we going to get like watch night bounties that pop
Yeah,
up
I
in
guess
just
so.
like general maps? That could be more fun and keep the core maps a bit more lively.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Karka Bounty in LA. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, no, please don't apologize. That's a great idea. I love that.
Mm.
Yeah, maybe this is going to be something that expands a bit off of Living Season 1 even, or some
Oh,
of the things
yeah.
that they couldn't like put into the original, with the purpose as well, I'm sure, of trying to bring folks back to some of that content in those areas, especially for new players. And I mean, yeah, maybe they're gonna maybe this is just sort of how they're trying to, you know, keep some things rolling before they bring out some more news about what the new expansion or things will be this year. So
Yeah, the
Would
cargo
they,
stuff would be cool.
as much as I think the great idea of this is bounties for like going back to the Karka area and stuff like that, I have a feeling that it's not. Oh, maybe just Karka Queen.
No, I mean, it doesn't. I mean, it's just an idea. It's just something.
Yeah, but I don't think they're gonna.
Right?
I don't think they probably didn't put dev effort into also doing the stuff they didn't put back into season 1 when they originally did it.
Yeah.
Just for this. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah,
right,
because
right,
we
right.
had the revisit achievements come in with the legendary amulet, I believe, for Aurene. But I don't think at that time season 1 was implemented into the game. So this is also kind of like padding out and like kind of finishing that element of it. So I don't think they're going to add extra stuff. I don't think they're going to add necessarily like to the extent of like introducing Kanak and like the whole South Sun.
Yeah, I'm gonna
But-
guess there's no new content, just call outs for you to go do that content.
Probably.
Maybe.
Probably.
Yeah.
And rewards for it as well.
And
I
they say
think it's the safest
generously reward you.
Mhm.
And the past couple of events, like I think we did the fractal one and the dungeon one, they weren't. I mean, I guess the wording is a little like amorphous and subjective, but like the rewards were okay. It was nice to go and do something and get a little extra boost for doing that content. But I wonder if they're going to kind of do like astral acclaim, because I know that sometimes they'll have that as a reward, which is pretty nice. The current World versus World event that's going on will reward you with astral acclaim for doing it. So I just wonder what like the rewards will
Oh,
be.
will it?
Yeah. Yeah, at a certain tier you get like 100 astral acclaim for doing it. So
Wait, for the World v World Rush?
Mhm.
Interesting. I didn't know that. That's cool. I need my next battle. My next thingy of battle. What's it called? Gift.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, I think they missed an opportunity with bringing back season 1 and not bringing back any of kind of the open world stuff, because it was all open world stuff during the initial season 1, and I feel like we've got many Shiver Peak maps that are just kind of stuck in the before times, and it would be very nice to have some interest with Aether Blade attacks that I know that there
That's
is
possible
the
too.
anomalies that do happen in the area. It would just be nice. I like that idea to kind of make it more living, breathing. If it's really, if the maps are really kind of like time bound, like they have been, let them be time bound. Let people experience those Aether Blade attacks and those Clockwork Monstrosity
I think
attacks,
that's what they're going to do.
and have it a bit more
yeah.
dynamic.
I think that's going to be
I mean,
the
that would be-
bounty system, maybe, of like going to like
I would
go
like
and
that.
kill because the invasion, the scale of the invasion was pretty cool, and that was pretty good. So they could do that on, or maybe they are just doing the Return to Lion's Arch thing, and you just go in there and that's what it is, and it's just more simple than that. It could be that, but it's nice
I wouldn't
to
mind
wonder.
that either, because I haven't
Yeah.
done that Battle for Lion's Arch since it was kind of released, and it was nice to do. So I wouldn't mind
Yeah.
having another reason to
Reader
go
makes
back.
a good point in the chat as well. That was the first thought I actually had when I saw this. It was like, is
Just
it going to
because
be
of
us?
Ellen Kill being there.
Yeah, literally. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, well, but season 1 as well. Like season 1 was about the voting, right? Like there was a lot that went on, wasn't? I mean,
Yeah.
in that season, there was a lot that happened. We just haven't seen. Like a lot
Sorry,
of people just never see.
For anyone who doesn't know, so when season 1 rolled around, they opened up a voting system for the community where you could vote for the next captain, for the next position on the Lion Guard Council, or the Lions Council, the Captain's Council, sorry, in LA, and it was between Ebon, Nashblade, and Keel, and Keel won, and we got basically, what was it, free repairs rather than a reduction in how much it cost to use teleportation points, and it was opened up to the community, and there was all sorts of posts about it, and
Also, we got
there was little
a choice of
flags and
fractal.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, we got
That would
the
be cool.
Thomanova fractal instead of the Abaddon fractal.
Yeah, it would be cool if like they integrated that somehow, right? Or like if we had some new choice of something as, you know, part of that, even if it was like a, you know, be a part of this faction and like complete 1 billion events, and that like generates whatever, amount of support, or like do this and then you get a voting ticket. Like that would be super cool. I don't know if they'll do it, but to have that kind of sense of that reintroduced would be a lot of fun. And I mean, there are some other things they could do. I mean, we talked about Astral Acclaim being tied to this. New rewards or something that they could release for it. And I do think that like getting people back to that Lion's Arch and the Nightmare Tower is going to be important, and I hope they incorporate it, because I've had several people who have said, in the last year or so, what is the Nightmare Tower thing? I'm like, I'm supposed to do it, but I don't know how to do it. Would anybody run it with me? Like there's, I don't see people. And so it definitely feels like they could use some folks to like get in and do that content. I had the thought too, that if they wanted to kind of make this more accessible to folks, they could also do something to like expedite some of the process for getting that return to Lion's Arch memento thing, where you like go to the old version of Lion's Arch, because that's honestly, I know people have gotten it, but it's like a slog to acquire.
I
was trying, but then I just kind of petered out, and I think it's a real shame for folks that, have that disconnect, especially as they like play through the story and you see old Lion's Arch in the earlier stuff.
It should just be a thing we get. Everyone
should just get it as a part of it, I think.
You should come with season 1.
I agree. The implementation of it was too much of an ask for something that isn't. It's kind of a downgrade because you can't use your mount and you can't glide. So.
It's not an alternative. It's not like, better on it. Well, I mean, it's better visually, in my opinion. But like,
Definitely.
Maybe we'll get like a Lion's Arch skiff skin. I'm only saying that because I finished reading Sea of Sorrows over my break, and it's very like naval oriented, and I was like really into Lion's Arch.
Is it now?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It was really good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I guess, Sea of Sorrows would be naval.
Well, yeah, it would indicate a little.
I didn't think about the naval stuff though. I thought it was just like, I don't know anything.
We're talking about
it.
ships, by the way, not belly buttons.
True. Very true. It's good to just make things clear. But a lot of naval combat is a good series if you like.
Which again is ship, not being belly buttons.
Do you have an innie or an outie? If you have an outie, you will win. You will win the butt.
I'm not trying to yuck anyone's yum.
I'm doing that. If you
Never
get
heard
that
of
little
like
bit of fluff
belly
in
button
there,
jousting before. Holy shit.
That's amazing.
Okay, carry on.
Oh man,
I mean,
maybe that's what they'll do for the event. That'll be it.
Would you be on a horse whilst also doing this to the side? Sorry, what?
It would be incredibly difficult.
Where did the
to
horse
joust
come
your
in?
Outie belly buttons
Jousting.
while on a horse.
Oh,
That's what jousting is, Kroof.
sorry, I missed the jousting. I said, why are we getting the horses involved?
Or dragging horses to have some weird
I literally
belly
was just
button.
like, I was like, where the hell did that come from?
How outy is your belly button?
Exactly.
If anyone cares, I have an innie. So
Oh, thank you. So do I. Just a little update for everybody here.
What is it? Is it
Oh my
10%
goodness.
of the population has outies? Something like that.
Oh my goodness.
Seems very important to our conversation.
This is
Either way.
crucial.
this
This is
up.
important for Gilbert's Stew information. No, I mean, I had
10%.
not seen. Oh, okay. I had not seen information about that yet, so that's exciting. And I mean, we know that coming up, we do have in the first quarter of this year our next release, right? I'm thinking back to like before the holiday. I'm like trying to think back to everything that we heard before my brain just completely short-circuited and just died for a few weeks. But
Jesus Christ.
we've got some new content and stuff coming out. I mean, look, we were in a weird liminal space for a little bit there with the New Year's and
it's a holding period.
yes, a holding
Guys.
period, a holding period.
Guys, sorry to derail this podcast. I never do that, but this time I have to.
You never have to.
I mean, it's expected.
So,
it's in the schedule.
Percentage of people who have outies is 10%.
Yeah.
Percentage
How
of
did you
people who are
remember that?
left-handed, also 10%. Coincidence?
I think not.
I
Are
think
they
not.
the same?
Now, what about the percentage of
there-
people who have outies and are left-handed?
Probably 1%.
And how do they? And when was that number taken? Anyway.
Oh wait, no. What is the actual? Let's find out.
Oh my god.
You're welcome.
Oh,
Feeding the
there'll be
brain.
a
Let's
pie
move
chart
on.
of that somewhere.
So you can.
Yeah.
It's the same 10%. So that's interesting and fun. Also, the World restructuring event, going to do that. I think that's going to be fun as well. If you're in the Lightbringers Guild, and hopefully maybe just a tiny bit, you clicked the Lightbringers Guild for the restructuring beta. I'm going to do a raid tomorrow, and I'm going to lead it. Hopefully, we'll see. And we might not get many people, but I'm just going to tag up and just see what happens. And I might go on Discord and do all the things. So you're welcome to join on there if you would like to during the down Saturday.
When is this?
I'm going to do it tomorrow at like 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. Pacific.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Yeah, anyone's welcome to join. Co-stream, whatever. Everyone's welcome. Could be fun. I want to farm things. I also have been enjoying World v World a little bit more because I stopped PvP. My last day of PvP was back in November on the 17th. I haven't PvP'd. This is the longest period since launch. I haven't PvP'd in Guild Wars 2, and I'm infinitely more happy in the game. Like, I just feel better playing the game. And I've just popped into World v World every day to get Astral Acclaim, and it's just been fun. I like popped in, tried to get a camp, then there's been some kills, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go and see if I can just roam about, and it's been fun. So yeah, try and get involved in the beta if you can. I'm still no idea what's going on that. Honestly, I don't think they do either.
But I do like that I've been seeing some threads popping up on the Reddit and stuff of people trying to organize Discords and stuff for World versus World specific groups and joining alliances and stuff like that.
That is very awesome. I have to check that out.
Yeah.
That is going till Feb 2nd, I think. Although I'm looking at the old post, I think, which was just before over Christmas. What we do have to look forward to, and I'm going to tap my head for my own visual cue for when I put a chapter in, because I'm going to start doing that, because it's really difficult to chapter these episodes up.
Yeah, do it. You can always, there's a thing you can do with stream decks too, where you can make like chapters if you push them.
Oh yeah, it's just for YouTube.
But I think there's a way, I think people do it by making clips. Like you have a thing where it like lets you make a clip and it like times so that you know where those.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yep. It's different. The time code's different though when I edit it down. So it's like, but either way.
Yeah, just some thoughts, just some possible solutions, just to make your life easier. Just tossing out there.
I like it. Thank you very much.
But
also just doing this a whole bunch works too.
You gotta do it for at least 20 seconds though, so you can have that scroll and that image preview will pop up.
You tap your head and circle your stomach.
Rub your stomach. I love it. Yeah, good.
That's a really. By the way, if you're ever anxious, do that. Trust me, works. I literally say that as a coping mechanism.
Me at the doctor's office, just.
Yeah.
You're like, hi. So you're in for a strep.
We can't see what your other hand's doing.
It's also good for stress.
It's very good for stress.
My innocence! Fornex is corrupting my innocence!
Another one! Another person.
That ship sailed, darling.
Destroyed. The Gnome Destroyer returns.
Oh my god.
Destroying the innocent. Oh, that's what a gnome is the symbol of in people. Innocence. It makes sense. Gnomes are little innocent creatures. So you destroy the innocence of people, which is their inner gnome.
We played Baldur's Gate. Gnomes are not innocent.
Gnomes are not innocent.
They are definitely not.
We played
They are not innocent in Guild Wars 2. They are evil in Final Fantasy 14. I have let to meet a potato that isn't evil beyond Kryl. So no, I'm not accepting that.
Pippin!
That's very rude.
Gosh, Pippin's a good boy.
Pippin is nice, yeah.
My character is also beautiful and a potato.
I'd like to take a ride on his daddy, actually. He's a father now. Yummy. Anyway, carry on.
Okay. So many ships today. Okay, so February, 2 new story chapters. The Temple of Thebes Strike Mission Challenge Mode. 9 new weapon proficiencies. And the ability to unlock new legendary armor. All in February. And the Wizard Vault reward refresh. Now, we should know when this is happening because I'm not in game at the moment. But if anyone is, you could look at your vault and you can see the days left. If anyone wants to do that,
I think it's like 32 or 31 days left.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god, we're mid-January, of course. Jesus. Wow.
Yeah.
I checked it yesterday.
Okay, so what day
My
is
memory's
it's
finicky, though.
46? Close, Chris.
46?
It's very close, Chris. It was always going to be the end of February, let's be honest.
Oh.
So how many, so when is that? 1 week, 2 week, 14, 28. Okay. That's like end of February. 28. Oh yeah, that's going to be.
Is this year leap year?
Yes.
Let's find out.
Yes.
Oh, is it? I don't know.
It is.
It is. It is
full-
leap year.
Yeah.
It is a leap.
Okay.
Interestingly enough, the 29 days of February. That would be interesting. They just gonna leave it right until the last second. Thank God this year's
They
a leap
forgot
year,
it was a leap
everyone.
year. It was planned for the 28th, and they found out it was a leap year. They said, let's push it to 29.
Yes, for sure. 28.
What was that End of Dragons that they released? That they said it was going to release in February, and then it released February 28th.
I think it was.
I think so. Yeah, that seems right.
28th would be the 47. Would be the last. Would be the day after the 46th day of the Astral Acclaim Rewards.
Because Tuesday
Yeah, it was
is the 27th.
It was End of Dragons. They said it was going to release in February, and then it released. We were joking. We were trying to remember. We were trying to like, oh, what day do you think it's going to release?
Yeah.
And it was like the 14th, the 7th, the 21st, and I said the 29th. But it was of course the 28th.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, so end of Feb, I think this is, makes sense, between the 27th and 29th, probably.
All right.
Did they
Probably
say early? Someone says in chat, Koss says end of Feb is more like middle of Q1, not early Q1. I don't know if did they say early? It just said the first half of next year in February you'll get 2 new story chapters. I don't really think it I don't think they said early. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I mean, things change anyway. I don't care as long as it comes in that quarter. And if it gets delayed, I'm also just not bothered.
I feel like with Guild Wars 2, I always expect things to drop towards the end of whatever month that they're dropping. They
Yeah.
very rarely
agree.
do it early month or like mid-month.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think just as I've gotten older as well, I just don't care anymore about release dates. Like, I actually don't care because I'm just like, as long as the game's done and like finished and like, it's up to the quality that they want it to be, then cool, I'm good. Like when I was younger, when I was a kid, you can't wait, right? Like, it's like, just give me the damn thing. And you know what it's like. Ever since then, but that still happens now, and the games are just like awful, and you're just like, like the day before, like I mean, I don't even know what that was. Like, no, it's just a mess, and like that was a scam actually. But
I feel like we just got something new.
Did we?
Did you? Are you looking? Is this what you're looking at? There's a new official events calendar.
Wait, really?
Huh?
Yeah, here.
Wait, where?
Oh, show us.
Show us.
I hope this is new.
I do not have permission to send it. Where am I?
Where am I? What's
Send it in the
happening?
Discord.
Yeah, there.
Send it
This.
in our group chat.
Events.
Oh, I have not seen this before.
Me
Are they
neither.
hiding things from us in the game or possibly their website?
It might have just
On the
come out.
website. I see on the website a new to me. Maybe it's been in here for a while,
No, I've
but a
never
new to me
seen this.
tab.
I've
I've
legitimately never
never
seen
seen
this.
this.
What is this?
Upcoming events in the game. So there's like a full calendar that you can browse now that shows you like what events are happening. Return to Living World
That's
season
great.
1
That's
bonus
kinda
event,
lit.
skills and balance update.
I mean, they should. Do they? Oh, they've not really put anything else on there. I
This
thought
should
they
be
were.
on the launcher. Like I want to see
Yeah.
a link to this on the launcher.
Forums dev tracker
It'd be great if they
events.
fill it out a little bit more too.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're going to put it, why don't they just put like, yeah? I mean, it's dangerous, isn't it? Because
It
this
is.
ends up being like a roadmap. So
However, they do have access to this, and they could change things at any time.
That's true.
That's true. Maybe they need that little cheeky disclaimer in there as well.
Or like for certain things that don't have an exact date, just put it within the month that they're thinking of, so that you can kind of like get a visualization of which bits of content, like bigger content updates, are coming when.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, download this event? You can put it in your own calendar? What? That's
that's
amazing. What?
That's cool. I love
That
it.
is very random. Okay. And you can also adjust the calendar, looking at from and to, maybe. Okay. I mean, this would just be like, oh, and they've put like sales in there and everything. These are past days. So this must have
That's
been
useful.
brand new from January, but I mean,
I
how?
haven't seen this advertised really on their like official social medias yet.
I don't know if this is like a. Maybe they're just testing it out. I don't know if this needs a massive advertisement, especially when they haven't got much in the future on it either.
I know that games like I know that in World of Warcraft they actually have an in-game calendar where you can skip through and you can see the start of festivals and things like
That's
that.
been around
and
for
so you can
long time though.
Yeah.
Isn't that launch?
absolutely.
They had a calendar at launch where you could do guild events. Or was that
Yeah.
Warhammer? Maybe that was Warhammer. Or maybe that's both. Guild.
But I like this kind of thing. I like anything that helps planning because I'm, scattered with my ADHD all the time.
Yeah, and this is definitely easier to look at than like just the feed of announcements and then having to go through blog posts to figure out when things are coming out. And
Oh my
Yes.
god. Yes.
This is way clearer. I mean, we get like in-game letters and stuff, but honestly, I don't always feel like that's the best way to communicate to me. Like, it'll notify me to something in the moment, but the moment I like click out of that and delete that letter, like it's over. It's off my radar. It's gone. So it's really nice to actually just look at it and see happening now, like when stuff starts. Because that gives me a much better idea of like, oh, what's going on right now in Guild Wars 2. And I just like look at this and I go, oh yeah, that World versus World Rush event. I guess I could do that until January 16th. Cool. Like, I like that. It's good.
Yeah, maybe on the launcher, like you said as well, would be a good idea. Built into the launcher would be good. Like a menu. Did you say that, Rook? I can't remember.
I think so.
I did,
There's
but
a
it's fine. You
menu.
can steal it.
There's a menu.
You can take it
I'm
for
just making
yourself.
Sure. No, I'm not taking nothing.
You take all the credit for Jebro. That's fine.
I'm taking it with me to the bank, as they say. I'm going to add it to my $2.47.
And there's a little bit more information about that going back to Living World Season 1 event. If you click on it, it's a very, very small extra information. And the information is you'll receive a message from Captain Ellen Keel in Lion's Arch to find out more.
Surprising. Very surprising. That's what we're going to get, yeah. Very surprising. Well, I mean, steps. Baby steps, eh? It's only been 11 years, it's fine. So I am in a cheeky mode this week. I had a meeting today for work and I had a bit of an event in front of a lot of people, so I'm kind of in that mood today. It was a good event, though. It was good. I was advocating for us, so it's okay. Yeah, okay, all right, good. So February, we got 2 more story chapters, awesome. Crying Herald, I want to start with you. Do you think they're going to be as packed as they were as the last one? Which is why I came to you to ask that question. Because I know you have some concerns about the last story episode length. Sorry.
I have feelings about this, and you know that I do.
I know you do. What are you hoping for?
I want to be nice. I want to be. Why
be
do you
nice,
do this
then.
to me? I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying to be zen. This.
I don't want you to be. I don't want
day.
you to force positivity. I want authenticity. I want genuineness,
authenticity.
but in a kind way. Is fine.
Okay. I sincerely hope that we get more story than we did with the initial release of the additional bridging content, because we were promised a full narrative arc, and with all the love in my heart and a song that ain't son, it wasn't enough. It was an amuse-bouche. It was not even a starter. So they need to give us more story. And I've said many times, if you you can have a lot of story and a lot of character development without having to have a whole lot of shebang going on. Look at Final Fantasy XIV. And there are skip buttons for people who are not interested in the story. They can just flit through it and on their merry way to the next event. But people who care about the story and are invested in the characters and play the game for that, and there's quite a few people who do, we're getting a bit of a bum's rush at the moment. It ain't it.
So
Much love.
Okay, so then the follow-up question for you as well. Would you prefer more story packs into one release and those be released less frequently? Because it feels like a time constraint thing, like right now. Like they either don't have time, or because I'm not sure if it's. I don't think it's a lack of, like, you know, we know they're talented. They're ridiculously talented. They're some of the best writers we've got in the industry. You know, of course
True.
they are. But like, so I don't feel like it's not skill. It's not ability. It feels like time. So would you think that releasing maybe less often and maybe backtracking a little bit on that and just offering more in each release would be better or worse?
I think that they might be better uncoupling event maps to the story. So you can have these things happening in a kind of in the same storyline, but it doesn't have to be directly to do with the main story arc. So we could have had all the things happening in Naos in it without having the main story. And I would argue that we didn't have the main story with the map of Naos. We had a Clip Notes version of it where we didn't get to know enough about this character that we thought would be very, very important. I don't want to spoil the story, but a new character was introduced. A whole section of our achievement area is dedicated to this character and their name, and yet our encounter with them is abysmal. It is abysmal is the wrong word. It's just not enough.
Can you say why? Is it just because it's short, or you don't feel like what?
So it felt to me like there was so much build up for this character. We have an area, they have a kinship with Paitha and her family. There is a real bad blood. We have done something to them which is unspeakable. If someone had done this to me, I'd take my time and chop them up into small pieces and boil parts of them and things.
Okay,
so, but and I'm not a demon, right? But this is a person. Well, I mean, I do moonlight on the weekends on OnlyFans, but
good.
So
get your bag, my friend. Get your bag, as they say.
But what I want to see them do is uncouple the story from the release schedule so that we can have proper story without having the pressures of getting the gameplay out there. Because I think the people who care about the gameplay, who are you pointing? The people who care about the gameplay don't necessarily care about the story, and the people who really care about the story, we're willing to wait. Sorry, what's wrong?
That's right.
Boots is, I think,
Boots cannot
indicating
talk.
who it was. Oh, I see.
So he's just using visual indicators.
Perfect. I mean, I agree with you. It's interesting because I hadn't necessarily thought of that specifically, right? But why can't they just... Oh, Boots is accidentally server muted, Jebro. You gotta unserver mute it.
Wait, what?
What did he do to deserve this?
I didn't do that. You muted yourself.
He's fully
How did I mute myself?
muted.
I don't have
I don't
permissions.
know.
How am I supposed to mute myself
Have you been
serverly?
muted for a long time?
No, not obviously not the whole time. It's been about I don't know, a minute.
You must have done that to yourself.
How?
How
How
could
could I do
server
that to
mute
myself?
I haven't touched Discord.
Self-spanking monkey.
Maybe Discord just knows. AI is like, Boots is gonna interject.
I think that's it.
He's
I
gonna
think that's
derail
it, yeah.
things. I legitimately didn't do that.
Who
I'm sorry.
permissions in this Discord?
The mods.
One of the mods?
It's not
One
the
of the
mods.
mods?
Oh,
The mods is just like, I think
The
I'm
mods
gonna
know
help
how
Jebro.
to use this better than I do.
They're like, I'm gonna preemptively just mute Boots so that he can't derail the conversation.
Squad,
What did you
we
do
need
to
a
read a geek?
full-blown
I
investigation.
totally would have, like... I totally would have done it by like accident, honestly.
Probably.
Because I'm a bit like
But
that.
what I was going to say is that I think actually I really, really like this thought for next, because I personally hadn't necessarily thought of them just releasing something that might like purely be a story release. They in the past have really, I mean, obviously they want this game to not be exactly like how Final Fantasy XIV conveys story, right? It's not this game has never been a sit down, watch the story kind of game. So I think that's partially why a lot of times they have tried very much to couple gameplay elements and story elements together, because that's sort of a trademark of the Guild Wars 2 experience, if you will. But I have to agree with you in that I think many other games get better mileage out of the sets that they have created because they put a lot of story content on the exact same place, right? Like there might just be portions of story that are not gameplay, that don't have a bunch of little instances, that don't have a whole new map with them, but rather are just taking you around facilities and taking you around the same map that you've had for a couple months, or adding something in those regards. And I actually think that could be a huge benefit to Guild Wars 2 if they were able to add a little bit more in there, because we do, even with the kind of ways that they have created smaller segments of one larger map to release in various stages, they're still creating like a first portion of a meta and, whatever new fights and whatever instances. Whereas if we did just actually get some story in between, and of course it's a little bit difficult with Guild Wars 2 because everything is so voiced. I'm sure that's another consideration with bringing the voice actors in. That's a cost with those voice actors. But maybe this would be a big controversial thing. I don't know. I personally would rather get a patch where, sure, maybe we do just have some story content that really fills out a map, really gives us more context for characters, and may or may not be fully voiced in between the other releases than not, because I think they could get a lot more mileage out of what we have for releases.
That's a good point. That's actually a good point. We didn't really talk much about that.
I would take that. I would take that.
So it's okay. I mean,
I would say, as much as I would sell my left testicle for order for the whole of Final Fantasy XIV to be voiced, especially all the context. Sorry. My husband is listening to this as well. Oh my god. Anyway, I'll sell your testicles as well, darling.
You hit the jackpot with this one, mate.
Oh, fuck you very much, darling.
Where did you find her? I need to know that story. I really do.
Shit. Oh, you've discombobulated me now. No, so
it's okay,
testicles, yes.
So
I would
in-depth Lightbringers interview, one-on-one in the near future, and you may go first. You're going to be the test subject.
Well, I just agree with Rook that as much as I enjoy the voice, especially being a person who has dyslexia, and Oriange's language is particularly painful for someone who has dyslexia, but no, I would happily make the compromise to have more story in text form, even cinematic videos, anything. We saw, like, for example, when we went to dinner and we had the kind of the date that we went on at the end of Dragons. I thought that was really lovely. It was enough. It was fun. And you can have interactions like that don't need to have such a massive amount of budget behind it for the gameplay. And I would like more of that so that we can get the story that we deserve,
so
and that the game deserves.
So you mean more of maybe the after, when the main kind of bits kind of occurred, or like they've got the main like kind of I guess highlights voiced, and then in between you've maybe got longer text, you've got additional options where you can just delve in a little bit deeper, you can ask more questions, kind of like Elder Scrolls Online, when you've got like the main bits voiced, although they voice everything. But then you've got like other questions where you can delve in a little bit deeper, and that's voiced like over in ESO. Obviously, their budget's very different, but like just not having that as being the case, so it's just literal text. I mean, obviously, like that text, it does take time to construct that, because you have to assign a writer, that's pay, that's, and it's not just going to be one, it must be a group because they've got to agree on this story, etc., etc. So there is still time involved there. So that's why I'm talking about like their real time constraints. I have an overarching concern that they don't have enough time to do a lot of the work. As it is. like I just
that was my overarching concern when they announced what they're planning on doing.
I think they've bitten off more than they can chew.
I don't know. It depends on what your expectations are.
I mean, the story. Yeah. I mean, the story is like less than we got in Living World, isn't it? I mean,
yes, the last episode was not.
The last episode, was
not good enough.
Well, I'm not saying it wasn't good.
Skimmed milk.
Just less
in length.
I actually enjoyed it. I enjoyed the episode. I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed
in length.
It was actually
is what I'm saying.
In length, right? Okay.
I like the content, but it did feel more like a very kind of off quest line to introduce you to Nios. Yeah, I think especially with what Fornax was saying in terms of the way that it was branded and marketed with like the name of Hator, that was like the areas and the region's name, which it did kind of feel like it was being built up to be kind of a very menacing character. And then as the story very quickly unfolded, it was like, oh, okay. So I think there might have just been some wires that were crossed and things that might have been planned a little bit, not to a very accurate degree, and tried to hype it up a bit more, and it kind of just didn't fall where it needed to fall to really have that satisfactory ending. But then the length is also a concern.
That's you bring Fornax a good point up of where in the production of these are the bottlenecks. So is having too many voice lines voiced a bottleneck? And would, if they cut down on that, would they be able to create more of a written story and perhaps more of a fuller story, maybe less immersive because you don't have as many voice lines? I guess it's a trade-off in that case.
Yeah, I don't know, because at least for Felicia Day, for Zoja's character, the little trailer that we got about Zoja before Secrets of the Obscure actually launched, within that video, she was recording voice lines that actually only ended up showing up within this release. So she had recorded these lines well in advance. So I don't think they're like doing it like a week or two before. They seem to, at least for certain characters, they're probably preloading and writing everything down well in advance. And it's more so just the construction of the actual game itself that can probably take a good amount of time.
That's a good point. I could absolutely see that. And I think, I mean, again, it depends maybe budgetarily or other things, like how much those lines would add to, if they were planning just like pure story releases in between, how much extra time that would add to the recording booth and stuff like that. Like, again, we don't totally know, but I do agree with everyone in that we knew this last patch was not going to be one of the major big ones like they kind of talked about, but it did feel a little bit strange. I enjoyed it like you did, Jebro. I honestly, I had a good time with it, and I really liked the first kind of steps in, and I think that the atmosphere of Nios was really, really interesting, and I love spending more time with Paitha. She's so good.
The meta event was pretty fun as well. I actually like that.
Yeah, I thought the first bit of it was a really good starting point, but I also do agree with Fornax in that I think it almost felt a bit like a disservice to this particular patch, because to me, this almost felt like this should have been our next big release. Like, you're going into the realm of demons for the first time. Like, you're exploring a whole new world you've never set foot in. You're being introduced to the concepts of all of the inner workings of this place. And so, with the way that this patch kind of fell, it definitely felt like the concepts and the narrative story beats of the patch were a big thing that needed, a big hunk to go with it. Versus, if we had known it was going to be a smaller patch, and then we'd just gotten some little side jaunt thing that was more so about the Wizard's Tower and the different people there, and Zoja adjusting to her new life and stuff like that, and then coming up for the big release. Oh, sorry, my cat just like ricocheted across the house. Like, and then coming up for the big release, there was something like we go into Nios, right? So, I mean, part of this is probably as well that we are in the first year of a new expansion format. So they're figuring out, right, like how they tell their stories across the board in this sort of staggered way, in a way that's satisfying and doesn't leave players, you know, forgetting like, oh, hey, well, maybe the first portion was really good, but this one felt really scrimpy and I feel like I barely got anything from it. So like, it's tough to figure out how they're going to do that. I mean, I can say that like having played ESO's expansions, I do feel like their big zone narrative thing that they release, at least thus far, has felt more like an actual big hunk of a thing that you got at the start than maybe we got with Secrets of the Obscure. Like, you can put a lot of hours into working on like the first map and the first major story arc of an ESO expansion and feel like you've taken like a whole journey, and then they also release the second part later, right? So I don't know if right now the scope is matching quite as much up to something like the way that ESO does it, which is just the closest comparison that I have at this point. But I have enjoyed the story thus far. But I also think that they need to look at how they are creating satisfying experiences, or like where they're really going to put the bulk of like a big experience and major story parts, so that people don't come away feeling like, oh, that last one was or, you know, like to delineate that a little bit more. It seems like right now they're kind of going for a throughput, which isn't a bad thing, but it makes maybe waiting for that next bigger portion a bit harder, if that resonates, or that kind of makes sense. Like, because it feels like, as opposed to us having like two really clearly delineated big things with some supporting supplementary side questy stuff in between, instead they're like almost trying to create a throughput over the course of the whole year. But it means that some of those smaller patches are just smaller, even if the story itself is still really big in scope.
Which is why I'm not super worried about it being a 3-month time period, because it might come down to players' expectations of what a content patch will look like. I think that this amount of content that we got for the first, you know, after expansion patch is almost a perfect size of what 3 months could like accomplish, because the map is being broken up into thirds and the story itself was a bit on the shorter side. So if they're able to make that consistent, I think they can definitely hit it. But from players' perspective, is that as satisfying as, say, something like Drizzlewood Coast, where you actually get half of the map and a really bulky meta event to kind of fill and pad out that experience? And then the next patch, you get the other half of it to really put that bow up. Because for me, this spacing into thirds can feel a little weird. At least when you get some half of something, you have a really good idea of what you're looking at for the finale of that experience. But this, I still am like, is even the next update going to be something that I find to be satisfactory and like interesting enough?
Yeah, I think the main issue I have with all of this is the uncertainty of what's to come. Yeah. It's because when the first big chunk of Soto came out, it was a good chunk. I liked it. It was I think about what I expected for the big drop at the beginning of an expansion, of a 1-year expansion rather than a 2 to 3 year production expansion. But the next episode was less than I expected, and it makes me wonder still if the next 2 episodes will also be less than expected. It's possible that it's just a small one and then a bigger one and a bigger one, but there's no like there's no telling us that is the case.
We've got another expansion this year as well.
It's more like you'll have to wait to find out.
How can they like, I just find it hard to like, I mean, I'm not saying that they're not capable. I'm just saying with the size that Arena is, and they've emphasized this in recent interviews with different websites, like about the size of ArenaNet and where they are. They're not being ridiculous like other tech companies right now. Like, so many people are being laid off. Like, I gotta give it to ArenaNet. Like, good job on not hiring a bunch of people, so you just have to let them go, because that's just not the way to do things. It's not ArenaNet's way of doing things. So they can't even. They're not really going to hire anyone. Really, like it doesn't feel like, or like not on mass as well, right? At least. So I feel like I just don't. I'm just like they've got so much to do. They've got like a new expansion. They've also got next year's expansion. Like they must have started writing that by now. And it's like there's a lot of work to do.
I believe they said that by the time Secrets of the Obscure kind of released, that they were maybe putting up the finishing touches on the in between patches. So what we're getting in Nios, I imagine, is like pretty much done, other than like quality testing and bug fixing. So
must be
where their workflow is at. I believe they have said that like they have already started at least doing more stuff for the next expansion by this time. Yeah.
Still bloody hope so.
So,
Time's cracking on now. It is.
I imagine the workflow. They seem to be ahead of the curve at least. So like that's a good sign. It's more so just about what they have decided to.
Well, that's
put
right.
forth for the actual in-between patches.
Like if they don't have the time, if time's fleeting, if time is short, like how does that kind of like impact every single release? Like right now we've got, I honestly don't think, I'm in the camp of bigger story, more in depth, what kind of Fornax wants, even twice, like even every other patch when you've got so much coming out for each one. Because like if you look at this next patch, you've got new story chapter, you've got the Phoebe strike mission, you've got loads of other stuff, the weapon stuff, and I'm like, do they need to pack in everything into one patch as well? Like, and does it have to be all at once? Can they? What I would like to see more is over the quarterly release, that they state that over this time we're going to release X, Y, Z. So we have the story in the first 2 weeks. Then in the next 2 weeks you have the weapons release. Then in the next 2 weeks you have the strike release. Then in the next 2 weeks, so you've got a consistency of content coming out rather than like boom, here it all is, and it gives them more time to like finesse,
For a player, I think that would be preferable, but I think as a company putting out content, that might be less preferable, just because you have like a bunch of different game files working on at the same time, and having to I
don't know. I'm not sure about that, because that was their original. I mean, that was their original cadence. They just didn't have the time. So I don't think I don't think organizationally that's an issue, especially with like tech and where we are. It's 2024. I mean, you'd hope. I'm pretty sure they're pretty.
It does make it more complicated, though. I think
in terms of like having a varied amount of deadlines versus kind of everyone sharing a very similar deadline. But that's we're talking a little bit more about like back end company structure.
We don't know how that works. I mean, to a degree, I do know how it works, but like. I think that would just be for a player, like you say, like we're talking.
Like I said, for a player, it's preferable.
I wouldn't mind if something where I mean, even people in chat have been talking about, would we prefer something like Drizzlewood Coast, where you have kind of two larger patches rather than splitting things up into thirds for like story and map. I personally wouldn't mind that, so long as like in between those story and map launches, we got a peppering of something like the strike missions, the strike mission challenge modes, fractals, other events that have been popping up, such as World versus World and the Dungeon Rush. I don't think I'd mind that too much, but then again, people do get, impatient. But that's why I think if they were consistent with endgame content, which I think that
Kroof, you came out and said it. You're just like
that. Like I think like next expansion, there was an interview before the end of the year, and they said that they have plans for something exciting for endgame content.
Yes.
So at least that's,
and for the combat as well.
Yeah, that's very future. Next expansion stuff. But I think it's a very like. This is the first time they're doing this structure of expansion and content, and I think we've seen benefits, and we've seen some things where it's like not as satisfactory. So I would be open to them still, having changes and flexibility with what their schedule.
I think like listening to things like this podcast also would be very like is good at like. I think there would be I mean, obviously they're getting feedback on the forums about this, but I think having a very open conversation with the community about this would also be very good, like a more official kind of like forum.
You know,
Q&A. Sorry,
actually,
you go ahead, but I want to.
That's
Oh,
what you said. Absolutely, Rook. Like, I think, well, Colin used to do this, and maybe Mo. They used to do AMAs on Reddit, right? Way back in the day.
way back when.
But like,
Yeah.
I actually think that's a really good idea.
I mean, it's
think that's
risky.
a really good idea.
A lot of companies avoid it for a lot of
I
reasons.
mean, I think
right?
so, but like Josh is really Josh is really good at the speak. Like he's from the marketing like side of things and PR as well. Like he's good at that. Like he would be genuinely good at that. I think that actually would be pretty sweet.
I think it would be a really nice way to foster a sense of back and forth and rapport. And Boots, I know you wanted to say something. I want to put a pin too in the mention that Kroof had about raids, but please go first, and then I'll circle back.
No, you go first.
Okay. I just wanted to say
Uno
that
reverse card.
reverse. I just want to say that I actually think that is a really strong observation that you had, Kroof, because when you look at other game patch cycles, right? And you look at how they sort of spread out major hunks of releases. Of course, like many games have some kind of other like trickle story content or something coming in. But a big part of the MMO cycle, introducing things like raids or an equivalent of difficult endgame prog, it creates a time span that we don't necessarily have in Guild Wars 2, where you have a release where like, hey, the thing that we released is this difficult content. And we anticipate that for this to trickle down in the community and for various people of various tiers of difficulty to actually complete this, we have bought ourselves essentially a 3-month window or whatever it is, right? Because like that content is meant to be something that while you'll have people that go in and clear week 1, essentially creates a slightly more drawn out buffer within the period. And those players who are like, oh, well, I'm not an endgame player, and you know, I would like something. Like there's very much good feedback about that, and I think that's something that a lot of MMOs have been looking at in regards to casual content. But typically in the history of MMOs, players that didn't fall into that hardcore were like, oh, well, it's the raid patch cycle, so you know, we'll kind of do whatever we're doing, and if I'm not going to engage with that content, fine, maybe there's a story mode of it that I can do that'll still give me some rewards or something, or like an easier version. But they kind of understand that you've got that period of time. We don't have that in Guild Wars 2, and I think this is kind of a weird, unexpected consequence of that, because if we had 2 major releases and in the middle they released like the raid, or they released the like whatever it was that would be more of a difficulty buffer, that would buy more time within that. And then if we had smaller events like these that were in between, I don't think the community would feel too lacking. And I think that we would probably have like a more coherent, large scale kind of narrative package on either side, and then like the content package in the middle, right? But because Guild Wars 2 is a little more freeform with that, and because like the difficulty stuff is kind of interwoven into the other things, and the raids aren't their own thing, and we don't even have raids, but we also have, I can't help but wonder if, some of the stuff that Josh was talking about may be something they're looking at to kind of introduce into the cycle that might change what we even see for the next expansion. But I think I would be content with that. Honestly, I would be fine with that content cycle if that's how they wanted to do it.
I just think more is like, yeah, it's interesting.
I think it would serve the story and the new maps more justice as well, and not leave players with an underwhelming impression. Because I actually do believe I will have a much better time with Nyos come the next patch cycle in next month, because I'll be able, hopefully, be able to see more of it and experience more of the story and the characters that inhabit those zones, and so I'll be a little bit more captivated on the narrative's perspective.
Okay.
Can I be devil's advocate here?
Yes.
Never.
No, you know.
Switch. Go for it.
Okay, hang on. There you go. So
Is that a
that's
unicorn
my
horn?
they are the devil. So what?
Wait, what? Unicorns?
How much bang?
Why you have
Absolutely,
a unicorn on?
demonic beasts. We have the best unicorns. They're called rhinoceroses. They're like metal unicorns. Okay.
And you're the destroyer of gnomes as
so-
well. So, yeah.
I am the destroyer. Can you not see my horn? So, how much bang for the buck do you think that we're getting? Because I think that for
think it's
$20,
fine. I think it's fine.
I think we're getting a lot.
25.
So I mean,
25 bucks.
I am 25.
Extra
$20.
$5 is important. With tax, it's close to
I
30.
think. I mean, I might be in the minority because I'm a kept woman.
Right now, in
but,
this Discord cord, you very much are, because you are wearing a very interesting headpiece right now. So.
How much does the banana cost, Michael? Like $30. How much does a Guild Wars 2 expansion cost?
I just get the husband to get it. The husband will just go down to the shops and buy that copy in the Aureen Tale. Special edition.
Oh my god, I'm a working class lass from Cumbria, so Jesus God. But
Definitely a working class
listen,
something.
promise, I am. Dude, shots are fired! Holy shit.
We've gotten to
you
know each other a
screaming?
lot more over the last.
we have.
So I keep going.
Here's my okay. Dragged back to the point. So it's $25 for the expansion, and I think that if I'd have given them my money and just got Soto, just without the whatever we got with Naos, I'd be happy, to be honest. I think
Totally
that
agree. Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely,
right.
I do
So.
agree.
And I'm happy with the narrative of Soto. I think it's a really strong narrative. It's got good, memorable characters. They did with the murdery of the character again too soon, but okay, nitpick. But I'm quite happy with that. And what I think we have to accept, and me, Whingy, Daddy, I want a unicorn, has to accept
already
is
got
that
one.
the Brit. Well,
It's you.
I mean, skin my
You are right.
You are the unicorn.
I skinned my own unicorn, thank you. But I think that we just have to
Jesus
accept.
Christ.
I think that we just have to accept that the bridging content is not, unless we are willing to put our hand in our pocket and give these fine people money for their time, then the bridging content is probably going to be a bit, well, it could have been better, you know?
You know, it's tough because
I agree though.
I know I agree with absolutely everything you're saying, and I 100% think that for $25 we have a year's worth of content, and that content is solid. Like, even if there are areas where we can be like, oh, I would flesh this out more, or oh, I wish this last thing was bigger as
People
a
are
player,
paying
right?
$150 for that kind of content a year.
I know.
And that's
know.
not including the actual
Like-
cost of the expansion. Like,
Yeah.
just think about that. Like, if you play World of Warcraft, you are paying $12.99 without tax per month for something. The new expansion comes out this year is what, like $50, something like that? It's not $25, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So you are spending like close to $200 in an expansion year. I obviously not in an expansion year, it's different. For sure, you get I think you get a lot. I'm playing through. I'm looking at like Shadowlands and stuff at the moment. I'm just trying to analyze like how much do people actually play of this still now, and I'm just like. That with my hand. Like, I'm just like, I mean, I feel like, and I've said this before, and I'm gonna get slain for this because I often do, because people are like, oh, he's the last side of the dead, blah, 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 blah. I'm just like, there is a lot of entitlement, I think, in our community sometimes, where they really feel like they have got the bum deal and they should be getting more stuff. And I'm like, dude, we barely pay any money for the damn game as it is. Like, if I would pay like $15-20 more a year at least, if that meant they could hire 2 or 3 more people on the on each team or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
That's the thing though. Like, and I think that's key, right? Because It's tough.
It's
Guild Wars
madness.
2's niche is that it is the best bang for your buck in an MMO, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of what I see how they have like what they've played into. And I know a lot of people who play Guild Wars 2 because they can't afford to play other MMOs. And that is great. Like, I am so glad there is an option on the market that provides what it does, that is not abusive of its systems for players, and that genuinely gives you like a great environment and a lot of great stuff to engage with and enjoy for a lower cost. Like, I am really glad about that. And I don't necessarily want that to change. But it is interesting because in the market of MMOs as players, I think there is a sense of you're always aware of what's on the market, right? You're always aware of 14 WoW games that are buy to play and subscription. You're always aware of these other games that are out there that are the MMO experiences that are there for you to have if you are able to or willing to pay for it.
Yeah.
And it's tough because honestly, as a player, I would rather that they charge me $60 for an expansion every year and that like I get a ton of stuff and they can hire a few more people and I can like support the game and I can do it. I mean, of course, do we have any idea if there's a direct correlation between paying $65, or $25 or $60 and that would allow them to create? No, like we don't know a lot of the other bigger picture stuff with the game itself.
Right, we're just guessing.
But yeah, like for me, I'm like, I would not mind at all if I paid $60 for an expansion and we got a $60 expansion. Of course, am I glad that I'm like, here's $25 and then I get to have a fun romp in Guild Wars 2 for a year? Like, yes. So it's tough because I think a lot of the problems are that as people look at the games that they want to invest in or play, they are going to hold it up against those games no matter what that you pay more for. And sometimes those games deliver more for that money and sometimes they don't. And I mean, that's a range and a discussion in and of itself, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, for $25, I think we've more than gotten our money's worth for Soto, and we haven't even finished the whole year. But as a player, sure, as I look at other MMOs that are out there, would I like to see them be able to reach the full potential of this game, even if that meant that I had to pay more? Sure, but that's just me as a player. That's just me really enjoying what they put on the table and really enjoying what we get and going, man, if we could get like a bunch more cutscenes and if we could get a regular like raid development team that was making new raids every year for us to play, like I would gladly pay $60 or tack on an optional sub or something. But it doesn't seem to be the mentality of what they want to do with the game. And I have to also respect that because I know it makes this game accessible to many players who otherwise couldn't. So we kind of end up in this weird space where we're constantly comparing it to other things on the market that just charge much more.
Yeah.
And yet we pay less for it. And what we get, it means sometimes it's going to be perhaps a little more bare bones in some areas. But they're still doing really well.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, they're doing great, but like we have to. I think there's a management and expectation that I think that some folks just don't live in the real world. They don't live in reality, and they're like, I mean, I've seen some streamers and some other folks saying, oh, there's nothing to do in Guild Wars 2 anymore. I feel like this, that, the other, and they're being really loud about it, and they're getting loads of people riled up, and I'm just like, dude, if you play Guild Wars 2 8 hours a day. Like, this is not your game. Like, this is not you can do that. Like, but you just can't, like, there is also life outside that. Like, and I know that not everyone's able to go outside and do the things. And, like, that's for a lot of folks as well. That is communication. That is, and that's, I totally get that. But, like, there are other games. There are other things that you can do to supplement your experience, which you should be doing. We should be doing as just human beings.
Stormblood is coming to free to play for Final Fantasy 14.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right. So can I just the expansion, it's the War Within, is coming up for World of Warcraft, and I'm looking forward to it. They're really knocking it out of the park. It is $49.99, which is euros, for the expansion. That's like 55 bucks, right? Okay. It is £156 a year for the subscription. So it's basically you're paying £200 a year to play World of Warcraft. as opposed to for 12 months for the expansion, because they're doing 3 expansions, one a year for the next 3 years. So it's $200 to $25 a year to play World of Warcraft, or £25 for an expansion with Guild Wars 2.
Just nothing.
Right?
Guild Wars 2, my
just
sweet,
nothing.
beautiful
It's
angel.
so wholesome.
We used to talk
It's
about
like, no, please, you don't have to give me money. It's okay.
it's like please.
But I
sir,
will
can I have
say
some
their
more?
cash shop is pretty good in terms of like being very ethically minded and a lot of just cosmetics. So
Yeah, I mean that's
speaking of
the
that,
option.
New
right?
Moth skin, the new Moth mount skin, which is so cute.
Miss Moth.
Miss
We've
Moth.
talked about the optional sub as well, which I think is a way they really could just bring people in a little bit more, like with things like, you know, access to just a few things, like, you know, that are giving people a pass to like an area, the specific, you know, I don't know what the mislock area or whatever, like, you know, things like that, giving you a certain amount of discount on discounted gems for the month, for like, you know, all this kind of stuff, which would be totally doable, right? Totally doable. Like there's these things where I'm like, it's not going to give anyone an advantage. Like there's no power. You're not buying to play. Like, you know, it's there's some options, and I'm just like, I would love to know why these aren't being visited upon. I would like, you know, just an optional thing. It's just optional. I mean, they had something in comparison. Maybe they just don't want to. Did they ever said they will? Maybe they said a while ago that there will never be have a sub model, and maybe they're just sticking to that. And I actually can't remember.
Well, I mean, they said they'd never have mounts as well. So let's just, you know,
raids.
never is a very long time.
well, I
Never
mean,
is
they
a very
did
long
have a
time.
very clear option to implement that with the Astral Acclaim system. And they were very adamant in saying that this is not a paid feature. We're not looking to implement that type of feature to Guild Wars 2. And I think it's just been so long that they have had this structure that kind of going back on it is a bit of a risky move in general, because it can create a lot of backlash.
It's free, isn't it?
And if you think about it, I mean, so they put a lot of their currency goes into selling cosmetics, but even that they've broken with the Wizards Vault, because we can now get in-game mount skins from the Wizards Vault. So they're even breaking that paradigm to a certain degree. I feel like
That's
they're
good.
always
Keep
trying to
doing
give the
that,
players
please.
the best.
Don't stop doing
deal.
that. We like that. Sorry. Continue.
No, it's good. No, I have so much. I think I very much like they have an ethic, which is quite a rare, beautiful butterfly in the world of
They
business.
are ethical.
beautiful
I love
moth.
it. That's so good.
Yeah.
They are ethical.
Because a lot of businesses hide behind the you know, we have a moral obligation, a legal obligation to make as much money as possible. Well, only because you wrote the bylaws like that, darling. You decided to do that. So I think that it's very refreshing to especially, I mean, if you look around some of the gaming industry, from for the upper echelons to the working like coalface, a lot of it has been quite mired in controversy, I want to say, over the last at least 10 years. It's been a bit of a shit show, to say the least. And but they've had to make some unfortunate financial choices at times. I think Guild Wars 2 and ArenaNet in general have been one of the few companies who've actually like kept their nose clean and treated their staff as best as they could in situations, and not ideal, but as best they could. And when other companies have just been, you know, I don't know.
I agree.
Delving the bottom of the barrel. So
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm very aware that we do have a hard stop for like 12 minutes or so time. So I just want to I want to start a little bit of a wind down right now and a little bit of an outro, so we can obey that, because I would like to try to stick to the time we agreed on. I think overall, I just want to say a word finally to wrap, I guess, a lot of that up. It's just like, we're excited. I think again, we want ArenaNet to I think at the time realized that I think sometimes it's difficult to understand that what you give a player can be. We get a really good experience, right? Like we get a solid experience for the amount of money we pay. I think understanding your value is something people deal with on a daily basis, let alone companies that are ethical and actually decent. So I think, as 5 people who have played this game for a pretty long time, have dedicated a lot of time to creating content for it in one way, shape or form, whether or not you're adventuring or creating outfits or running around on a moth or making builds or commentating PvP, whatever, like I think we've got a good idea of how much worth that is, and that we would be okay with that being something that was adjusted so that it would help a company we love and appreciate grow, because it's important in the world. And they're probably one of the only companies out there tech wise who's actually not firing people, so there's a good reason for that. Just understanding value, I think, is important. I think that just at the start of the new year as well, for everyone just watching or listening or whatever, understanding your own value to your family, to friends, communities or whatever is really, really important. So please make sure that you just, I don't know. Just
and if you're someone who understands value, you can go over to my YouTube channel and subscribe to Groove.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Only people who know value know how to do that.
Excellent.
Yeah, I mean, like this was a bit of a kind of broad topic sort of day, bringing up whatever news we had and looking ahead a little
Rook's
bit to
being
2024.
very kind. I had no idea what we were going to talk about on this podcast.
I'm going to do the best. No, listen, we just kind of coming back together. And I think a lot of us are right now in the same space though, right? Like we've had some news with Guild Wars 2. We've had some blog posts. We've had a few things. We've had these new things, the event calendar that we just discovered or other stuff. But we don't really know what 2024 has ahead of it. And as we all kind of come together and just freeform talk about some of our thoughts and just kind of spin off of that, I mean, I do think that the value that we get out of this game going into this year is something for all of us to keep in mind. And as well, I mean, we have a lot of questions and curiosity about, going through this first year cycle with this expansion, where we thought like there were, really strong points with like the initial release, with some of the features. And I'm sure we'll talk more about this in future podcasts, right? But also those areas where perhaps there was a little bit of weakness or where we see that, that low investment we put into this game, it does perhaps affect various things. So it's a great thing that this is one of the few rare games out there that is not nickel and diming people. Absolutely. That is really trying as much as possible to keep things affordable for the vast majority of the player base. But of course, as we look to this next expansion and we look to a future of new expansions starting every year, I think that a lot of us are, curious about, is this what like all that they can deliver? Is this something that if we paid more, maybe we could even get more of, because it's been really good in the areas that it has been really good. Like it's been so fantastic that I think we just want more of it. And I am so curious about some of those things that we've had foreshadowed. Like, yes, we have thoughts on endgame content coming up. We may not be getting new elite specs every expansion, but we have a lot of other features really excited about. And I can't wait to see, especially coming through this first year cycle and taking the feedback that they've gotten from it to implement in this next year, how that affects things, how they're looking at the future, what they're kind of thinking about, even as we hope the game can continue to grow and expand. And some of these little events and stuff that we've had throughout, and this Return to Living Season 1 and other stuff that has been coming up, these rushes and additional content, have been really nice little supplements as well. So it's nice to kind of like just talk about, I think, how we've been sort of feeling coming into stuff with this new year and a new expansion in sight. And yeah, I'm just as curious as all of us to kind of get a grasp on what we're going to get with the end of Secrets of the Obscure, and then what this new adventure is going to be, and how they're going to keep refining this sort of new system for us, because yeah, I've loved this so much, I would gladly pay more, but I just want to see the team flourish, and I just want to keep seeing improvements, because the game is so great. And a lot of folks have really been coming in recent years with End of Dragons and Secrets of the Obscure, and trying it for the first time, and I want them to keep having a lot of adventures for a long time to come. So very curious about what this year is going to show us for our expansion cycles moving forward.
Chuck in your links as well. That's your outro. Rook.
What?
Tell us where you do things. We're doing outros as well at the same time.
Right now. All right, let's do it. You can find me on twitch.tv Rookery. That's ROOKURI. You can find me on YouTube at the same and on Twitter at Rookery_. We've got a lot of stuff coming up this year. It's been a little bit of a quiet month, but YouTube videos should be resuming, and there's a lot on the horizon for a lot of our games. So keep an eye out because I'm excited to be a part of as much of it as I'm invited to. So.
Yeah.
Awesome. Stay tuned. Kroof, you kind of did yours, didn't you?
A little bit, but I can do it again. If you are a person who knows value, you can come on over to YouTube and or Twitch over at Kroof. Just type in Kroof on the internet and I will most likely pop up.
Let me do that.
Doing a lot of Guild Wars 2 stuff, but I've also been starting to branch out into things like World of Warcraft, and then I've heard Stormblood is coming to the free-to-play experience. Definitely going to be checking that out. So for more things MMORPGs, head on over to Kroof.
Interesting. Also, if you Google Kroof, you will find out about a land surface atmosphere interactions experiment. In
that's my side hustle. It's
to
okay.
all of Kroof's other information.
It's just a little startup. It's fine.
Don't forget that your cat's fun that you have to support now. They don't want to be orphaned on the street with their kitty cat. Yeah.
You know, well, I'm still waiting for this one to tell me its name, but we'll get there.
Jonathan. I'm going to go with Jonathan. I'm just going with it. Bottlenecks.
Yes.
What do you do? Where you do it? And do you like a good pickle sandwich?
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I have to think about pickles. I'm Fornex occasionally. I make content over on YouTube. I'm actually working on. I'm a bit of a turncoat. I'm actually working on a massive sum up video for Final Fantasy XIV. Everything we know about the Dawn Trail release. I'm kind of super jealous of Rook at the moment because she's on Aetherite Radio and they'll be talking about all the massive releases and everything. If you need a,
all right, Fornex, do you just want to
weirdo.
come over to the podcast and do an episode with us?
I mean, that
do
would
some
be
episodes.
really nice.
Okay, great, let's do it.
She said, so like,
Okay.
I heard you had a party, but I wasn't invited. But
it's like
okay.
so sad.
Sometimes
Get your
you
butt
just gotta
in our
shoot,
podcast.
You gotta shoot your shot, man. Let's go.
Yeah, literally, any of you message me anytime, and I'll be like, "Get on the podcast."
I still
organize
haven't
our
had our
guests.
discussion about Emmett Selk either. We have to like
Oh,
the pros and cons of him.
Oh my gosh, yes. Oh yes. Okay, I'm gonna immediately go in. Don't worry, we'll make it happen. I'm a message. We'll get.
But yeah, I'm making some off-topic content for me, and I'm actually starting a new series for the people who support me over on Patreon and Subscribestar, where I'm going to do bedtime stories for gamers, which is just me reading stories to make people go to sleep. So
That's a great idea.
kind of my lane.
I love that.
I would subscribe to that. What?
Yeah, that's good. Lovely.
One whole buck a month. Okay. Yes. But yeah, that's what I'm working on at the moment. I'm starting with World of Warcraft. Yeah, that's my start sub for
your
like Patreon
value.
stuff.
I would pay $5 a month for that. Easy.
Basic bitch.
Easy.
Anyway, so yeah. Thank you. Also, Happy New Year, everyone. It's lovely to see you all. It's fantastic to be here. Happy New Year chat, and yeah, love you all.
Wicked. Boots.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey.
If you say hi on the internet, you will not find Boots. You might do at some point.
You might.
Let me do just Google hi.
YouTube
algorithm.
World of Enders. World of Enders is the place that I put videos on. And yeah, and good to see everybody today.
Yeah, it didn't work. Is hi a slang word? High definition and meaning? No Boots.
How'd you spell it?
H-I.
Oh, that's your problem.
It's H-I-G-H.
Is
Yeah, no, I have to spell
H-Y-E.
it's WORLDOFENDER. The most of the letters are silent. It's pronounced high.
A very esoteric spelling of it.
Beautiful. Wonderful.
Very Irish. Yeah.
This is Lightbringers podcast of stretch with breakthrough actor fuck. This is the
Did
only
you
way I
just
could.
cuss?
It's the only way I could possibly swear about YouTube.
YouTube.
Jebro, what do
there was a
you
cuss
do,
word.
and where do you do
Oh,
it?
Jebro.
I do it
Jebro, what do
here
you do?
on twitch.tv/JebroUnity. Streaming. I have a Marvel Snap channel. I have a YouTube channel for Guild Wars 2. I have this. We have I like to say this podcast as well, because they all help create it in the ways of being here and talking about the things. Is always appreciated, and I'm glad everyone's here for the first show of the year as well. Thank you very much. Check it out on Spotify and also all the other things, YouTube, iTunes, everything else. If you can chuck us a little cheeky review, that would help, because it gets the podcast out even more. Appreciate that. And also I stream on the weekends as well most of the time. So yeah, come and join us. Thank you so much for your support so far. We have over 75,000 streams on already on the podcast outside of YouTube, so that's pretty big.
That's weird.
Why is it weird?
Wait, why are you all listening to it? What?
That's weird.
It's a weird
Isn't
energy.
that cool though? Like it's
Well, that's super
audibly.
cool.
Like I
That's
don't
wonderful.
promote that at all.
And that's just for the gonads. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
all
that's-
for the gonads. Yeah,
and
that's mostly what everyone's tuning into,
So
Jebro.
we're getting
Absolutely.
up to 100k, which is very cool. So
Yay.
send this to your friend, anyone that plays Guild Wars 2 or likes Guild Wars 2 and just wants some wholesome, awesome banter with 5 wicked people and some other people that join us from time to time. Tell them to check us out. What do you mean?
False advertising with the wholesome. I mean,
I mean,
come
it
on.
is
I mean,
pretty
wholesome?
wholesome.
Really?
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
dirty but wholesome somehow. I don't know how
I
it
think
is, but it is.
both. Isn't it? Maybe.
It is. I think it's both.
I think it's both.
Okay.
Either way, I'm going to try and find the outro. We will see you next time on the Lightbringers podcast. You take care. We'll see you soon. And if you'd want to join us during the World v World raid, Lightbringers going to run through some things. If you want to join the guild, there is an application in the description as well. We've moved Discord. There's loads of information about that on all the places. Come and join us. See you soon. Take care. And have a good time. Also, we may be back next week. We'll see you soon.
Ooh.
Bye-bye.